my Lord, bring me a higher love. Oh, oh, higher love. I keep thinking of
The 49ers win the NFC Championship game.
Kansas City is the AFC champion. They are headed to Miami for Super Bowl 54.
bring me a higher love. Oh.
Man, that's a good song, G.
It is a good song. Fascinating matchup, obviously, here. 49ers and the Kansas City Chiefs getting set to play in Super Bowl 54. And Swagoo has put together a tale of the tape. Let me get out of the way here.
Because I like boxing.
Let's start with the easy one. Let's
Yes.
start with the advantage at quarterback.
Yeah, everybody knows that. Pat Mahomes is the most dynamic quarterback in the NFL. Game changer. We see two leads that teams get, and because they have Pat Mahomes, nobody flinches or blinks. They know at some point he's going to make a run and come back.
I guess the interesting question here is just how significant is that advantage, right? Mahomes is going to have the edge practically against anyone that he plays against. Garoppolo is the guy with the big contract, and he continues to win games.
Absolutely. San Francisco defense puts a little fly into the ointment. This will be the best one he's played and the most difficult to get away from because we've seen him scramble here in the past. With that being said, G, generational, right? And he's just a different animal. It's a different level.
I can't imagine there was a team in the NFL they could be playing where they wouldn't get that advantage. How about offensive weapons?
I got to stay with the Chiefs as well. And G, really the premise and the foundation of my thought here is speed. When you look at Mecole Hardman and Tyreek Hill and Sammy Watkins, it is so much speed on the field. I think it's one of the most underrated things we've talked about the Kansas City Chiefs. Obviously, Kelce being one of the top two tight ends, coincidentally, I think he's playing against the best one in George Kittle. But when you think about the devastating matchups that your secondary has when you have to match man-to-man with guys that are literally, they have the ability to run right by you, it's crazy, especially with that quarterback.
How about defense?
Oh, yeah. We finally get over to my side of the ball.
Yeah.
And look, when you look at these guys and how they get after the quarterback, but not only that, they play smart football. Very rarely are they out of position and giving up big plays. Richard Sherman back there making plays. He's one of those guys on one side of the field that coaches are comfortable with taking the matchup. But Salah, to me, has been as good of a coach as anybody on the defense side of the football when it comes to creating pressure, using the guys that he has to an advantage. He has two linebackers that can run sideline to sideline. This defense is special. That's why this is such an intriguing matchup in the Super Bowl.
How about the coaching edge in this game?
This was the toughest one I had because Shanahan has been phenomenal, but I'm going to go Andy Reid. And the reason I'm going Andy Reid is this. A part of that play is the fact that he has 15 at quarterback. With that being said, we had a conversation yesterday about his legacy. Does he need to win a Super Bowl to be a Hall of Famer? Absolutely. And you know who knows that better than anybody, G? Andy Reid does. So going into this game, if there has ever been a game plan that Andy Reid has put together that could arguably be the best one he's ever done, it'll be this Super Bowl when we get to Miami. I'm so looking forward to seeing his plan against this defense.
I agree with that. The legacy piece of Super Bowl 54 is Andy Reid. I agree. I think he is coaching for the Hall of Fame. All right, what's the X factor in this game?
The X factor, I'm going 49ers, and I'm going their defensive coordinator because we've had all of these conversations about what do you do to stop Pat Mahomes? How can you slow Pat Mahomes down? He came back from leads that people don't come back from in the NFL. They're averaging an ungodly amount of yardage, an ungodly amount of yards. Robert Salah has been special, and I keep stressing the fact that he has a unit on that side of the ball that really doesn't fear Patrick Mahomes. That's one of the most important things from a coach that you transfer to your players. This week, next week, he's going to go into meeting rooms with a definitive plan of how we stop the Kansas City Chiefs. And every guy in that defensive room is going to believe that his plan is the plan that they can put into action and stop this Kansas City Chiefs offense. To me, the mindset that he creates for this defense, and as talented as they are, they will play lights out, and that's why this matchup is going to be crazy.
Well, that's a great look at this thing, and I want to actually take a little closer look at that defensive edge. Because Patrick Mahomes is obviously the quarterback in Kansas City, and this is the legendary quarterback. And Dan Orlovsky asked an interesting question on the air, just in the middle of a conversation earlier this morning. What's the last time the great quarterback beat the great defense in the Super Bowl? Because as much as it is a quarterback's game and a quarterback's league, the defense we think usually gets the edge. The first one that I thought of was Tom Brady against the Legion of Boom a couple of years ago. But so Hembo, as Hembo wants to do, looked into this and put together a stat. The 49ers were second in the league in defense this year. One of the top two defenses, a top two defense, has been in the Super Bowl 20 times, 20 of the previous 53 games. Just very quickly think about it for a minute. What do you think the record is for the legendary defense, a top two defense in the league in the Super Bowl out of 20 games? As you think about it, go ahead, Hembo, pop the answer. 15-5 in the Super Bowl. So 75% of the time, there's the answer to your question directly. And I'm hearing in my ear, who's surprised it's not better? Our producer, Nick Scala, just said, I'm surprised it's not better.
I was going to say 17-3.
Yeah, but then seeing 18 points per game, like those 5 losses could have been like 20-17 type games. So the 18 points per game is impressive in a Super Bowl.
You think about the Patriots teams, you think about the Buffalo Bills, and they all include Bill Belichick.
Well, and one thing, guys, one of the teams was the 2014 Seahawks versus Patriots you were talking about. It should be 16-4 if you think about what happened that year.
Correct.
So
and like
really,
the quarterback, that's Brady, so greatest of all time. And then I would imagine it's Rodgers. You brought up Rodgers versus the Steelers in 2011.
I don't know if they were one of the top two that year.
And
They were.
And
So
that's
it's
kind of the
Rodgers.
game, the Super Bowl, that sends Rodgers into the, is he going to be the greatest quarterback ever? So that's what's on the table for Mahomes this year.
So the point is, we sort of put this one together by the seat of our pants, but I thought that it was kind of worth getting in here, that historically speaking, and the game has changed and evolved, and Mahomes is special beyond special. Historically speaking, when one of the best defenses in the NFL gets into the Super Bowl, they win 75% of the time.
I'd like to know who the 5 wins are, you know? Like, what were the quarterbacks to have those 5 wins? Obviously, Rodgers, Brady, and who are the other 3?
Hembo will get them for us, of course. Again, as I mentioned, we don't do this often, but we're putting this together as we go. Well, no, but that is the reality of it, because it depends on how far back some of this stuff goes. Defenses, the old adage used to be defenses win championships and offenses sell tickets.
What's crazy about that, G, is that usually these games end in 2-minute drills, last-second opportunities, and you got to determine. That's why I'm so stuck on the fact that San Francisco can rush the passer. Because if this game gets into a 2-minute drill or a last-second drive that Pat Mahomes has to make, or vice versa with Jimmy G, my trust factor goes down for Jimmy G a little bit further. But when you look at the other side of the ball, there is no team in America in the NFL you would rather have on the field than San Francisco's defense when Pat Mahomes is trying to make a game.
There are the names. So you got 3 Hall of Famers on that list. Theismann obviously had a great career, and Plunkett won 2 Super Bowls.
And that's why, like yesterday, I said he's the best young athlete in all of sports. It will only hammer home that point that if he wins this Super Bowl, he probably becomes the best American sports player, like the face of sports in America.
Yeah, he win the Super Bowl, but it's LeBron right now.
Huh. All right.
If Patrick Mahomes wins the Super Bowl,
Stop sidetracking us. You just sidetracked us into this entire unproduced conversation.
It's a great conversation.
This is a rundown. Contemplate staying with it.
I'm a freestyle guy. You know?
Yeah, take your freestyling somewhere else. Just kidding. We love it here. Let's get to the NBA. Rockets and Thunder, and James Harden and Russell Westbrook taking on those Thunder. RJ, you're with me here. Entering the game, Westbrook had recorded a triple-double against every NBA team besides the Thunder. It makes sense why. He gets another one in this game.
Well, look, this is what he does. He plays such a well-balanced, and he's such a great athlete that he's going to be able to get anything he wants at any point in time. And they were in control this entire game.
Yeah, James Harden, though, missing a lot. So early on, that's a big theme. And you see the Thunder trying to get back in it. It's a quick 5-0 run. Gallinari hitting 3-pointers all over the place. That's a 16-1 run. And Gallinari had 25 points. Ensuing Rockets possession, Harden once again trying to hit the 3, but he misses, RJ.
And he has the ultimate amount of confidence. That's why he is who he is. That's why he's an MVP. That's why he's been top 2 multiple times in his career, because he believes in himself and his ability. And understand, he was shooting like this all game, and they were still up double digits. It just finally OKC got going, and he couldn't figure out how to knock down a shot.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander there with the slam. He's a big reason why OKC would get going. They take a 1-point lead there. Rockets ball, 15 seconds left. Not enough, though, right here to get it done.
There's not, and we're going to see Russell run around. And look, this was not just James Harden. I want to point out that Eric Gordon was 1 for 8 also.
Yep.
So it wasn't like, oh, well, he should pass to somebody else. He had probably the second best shooter on his team not being able to knock down shots. And you see here trying to do a little later.
Doing a little after the game for James
late.
Harden there. But
Yeah.
there we go. All right, so tomorrow night, Zion Williamson makes his much-anticipated NBA debut for the Pelicans. But first, Kyle Lowry, Pascal Siakam, and the Raptors, they're hosting the 76ers in a good Eastern Conference matchup at 7 Eastern. And then finally, of course, it's Zion time. Pelicans taking on the Spurs, 9:30 Eastern, both games on ESPN and the app. You can watch those anywhere. And in just over 5 minutes, Marcus and Max, Marcus is heading over there right now to First Take. They're going to discuss their concerns about the Lakers after last night's blowout loss in Boston. Plus, who is the MVP of all sports, LeBron or Mahomes? First Take in just a few minutes.